One Zambia, One Nation. Good evening. Welcome to the news at 18 hours on TV2. My name is Chilufya Mwelwa. Our top stories in the news this hour. President Edgar Lungu has warned that he will not hesitate to fire any of his ministers who will not be loyal to him. The Lusaka Water and Sewerage Company has shut down the Chongwe district water supply system because Chongwe River has dried up. Barclays Bank has called on sportsmen and women to take financial literacy seriously. And other news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has warned that he will not hesitate to fire any of his ministers who will not be loyal to him. And the president says he expects hard work from the ministers because this is what the Zambian people expect as well. President Lungu was speaking today at State House when he swore in 9 more cabinet ministers, bringing the total of those appointed to 25. More in this report.
President Edgar Lungu's cabinet is almost complete. The president has sworn in 9 ministers, bringing the total number of cabinet ministers to 25. Given Iringa is Minister of Justice. Michael Katambo is Minister of Livestock and Fisheries. Chishimba Kambwili retains as Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services. Christopher Yaluma has also retained as Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, while Devin Mawumba is the new Minister of Energy. Charles Banda is Minister of Tourism and Arts. Emerin Kavanshi has retained the portfolio of Community Development and Social Welfare. Ronald Chitotela has taken over the Ministry of Works and Supply, while Brian Mushimbe is the new Minister of Communication and Transport. The president has also appointed and sworn in Christopher Muvunga as Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet in charge of Finance and Economic Development at Cabinet Office, Major General Jackson Meeting as Deputy Army Commander, and Benson Charlie as High Commissioner to Tanzania. The head of state has warned his ministers that he will not hesitate to fire any of them if they fail to show loyalty to him.
I hear there is a clamoring in the party, Your Honor, that I'm ignoring old faithfuls, people who have served the party for long. But ministerial positions are not about rewarding cadres or followers or supporters who have sacrificed. It's about getting the best to deliver that which is expected to be delivered by government. And for that, I owe no one any apology. If people join us at the 11th hour, and I consider them in my own assessment that they are fit to serve, I'll call upon them to serve. I want to make this very clear. There are those of you who think because you've been in PF from inception, you deserve to be ministers. I'm afraid you might become ministers in the future when time demands that you be.
President Lungu also spoke strongly on reports he has hailed accusing Vice President Enonge Wina.
Some of you are saying things about the Vice President that you will never go to court in Western Province. Let me warn you that she's there for keeps. And Madam, I won't allow you to resign. Because I think her contribution is timely, her contribution is helping us. Those of you who got me the highest votes, I know and I appreciate and I thank you, but your time for reward is coming. Just continue contributing. But if you begin backstabbing me and trying to undermine me, I'll fire you. Simple. Let's do what we are here for, to work.
And Minister of Information and Broadcasting Services, Chishimba Kambwili, said the president's message is loud and clear.
Loyalty defines a man. We are all expected to be loyal to His Excellency, the President, being the appointing authority. And I think his words go to everybody. I expect everybody, my fellow cabinet ministers, permanent secretaries, those who feel they cannot be loyal to His Excellency, the President, I just want to sign the warning that they must resign before we flush them out. We know that this unbecoming behavior of tribalism may spill over into government, where some people would want to sabotage government work. I want to sound a very strong warning that will flush them out.
As they relaxed and took pictures, the ministers are aware that hard work awaits them. Jeff Banda, ZNBC News in Lusaka.
And newly appointed Justice Minister Given Luwinda says his immediate focus is to revisit the drafting of the amended constitution. Mr. Luwinda says it is common knowledge that the amended constitution has a lot of lacunas that almost brought the country to a standstill after the August 11 general election. He says he will work hard with experts in his ministry to ensure that all the clauses in the amended constitution read correctly and are not in conflict with others. Meanwhile, Works and Supply Minister Ronald Chitotela says his immediate task will be to ensure that the Lusaka-Ndola Road is turned into a dual carriageway. Mr. Chitotela says he will explore how best the road project can be financed, even if it means entering into a private-public partnership. The two were speaking shortly after being sworn in at State House today.
And I know that the task ahead of me is extremely daunting, because there are lots of things to be done with regard to the laws of Zambia. And the number one issue is obviously the Constitution of Zambia. Every Zambian knows how the Constitution almost brought us into a crisis after the 11th of August elections. And what one wants to do is to delve into the Constitution and to see how to quickly ensure that the Constitution reads well and that all articles in the Constitution talk to each other and that there are not too many lacunas in the law.
To first do is to take stock of all the projects. We must make sure that all the projects that were started by my predecessor, we take stock of them and we see the challenges. If there are challenges of finances, I'm going to sit down with the Minister of Finance to make sure that we raise money and pay off the contractors so that we finish off all those projects. As you may be aware, we are busy developing the economy of this country. The economy cannot be developed without infrastructure development.
Now, the first session of the 12th National Assembly is set to open tomorrow, Friday, September 30th. The House has also an increased number of members of Parliament, while Patrick Matibini remains the Speaker of the House with two new deputy speakers. The first deputy speaker is former Mafinga MP Catherine Namugala, and Mfue MP Mwimba Malama is the second deputy speaker. The composition of the House includes 88 MPs for the ruling PF, 63 MPs for the opposition, who include the UPND, MMD and FDD, and 14 independent MPs. In terms of gender, 18.2% MPs are female and 81.8% are male. President Edgar Lungu is expected to officially open the first session of the 12th National Assembly. In other news, the Lusaka Water and Sewage Company has shut down the Chongwe district water supply system because Chongwe River, the main source of the commodity, has dried up. Company Acting Managing Director Manuel Mutale has confirmed this to TV2 News in an interview. Mr. Mutale says the company will now start ferrying water from Lusaka into Chongwe as a short-term and immediate solution. Meanwhile, Mr. Mutale has further disclosed that works to upgrade the Ayolanda water treatment plant in Kafewe have advanced.
Apart from Lusaka, but also Chongwe town. And you know, the source of raw water for Chongwe has been, the Chongwe River, where we've got a dam, where we've located, our treatment plants. We've had challenges. I think the issues of the environmental pressures, in as far as limitation in the raw water sources, is real. And this experience is worse in Chongwe in particular. So we've got these perennial challenges and problems that we have. Around these periods, the water in the dam dries up. As was the case last year, we've now reached a stage where we have been forced to shut down our plants in Chongwe. So because of that, we are not able to supply piped water, to the town of Chongwe.
A senior police officer has been arrested for being in possession of cannabis and heroin. The officer was arrested by the Drug Enforcement Commission (DEC) after he was found with 15.8 grams of loose cannabis and 11 sachets of heroin. DEC spokesperson Teresa Katongo has confirmed the arrest of Senior Superintendent Stephen Mwengwe, aged 39, who is officer in charge at Kanyama Police Station.
And Stephen Mwenge, that's a 39-year-old assistant superintendent and officer in charge at Kanyama Police Station, as well as Emmanuel Chipongwe, a director at ES Security Company of house number 23668, that's in PHI. The two were found in possession of 15.8 grams of loose cannabis and 11 sachets of suspected heroin. What happened is the commission received information from members of the public that there were some DEC officers who had staged an operation in Chainda, that's in Lusaka. So DEC officers were quickly sent to verify the information, only to find that it was not DEC officers, but actually the two mentioned suspects. It is also alleged that this is not actually the first time that Stephen Mwenge has masqueraded as a DEC officer in order to conduct illegal operations and extort money from unsuspecting members of the public. So,
police on the Copper Belt have summoned opposition UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema and his deputy Geoffrey Mwamba for questioning over an illegal meeting. Copper Belt Police Commissioner Charity Katanga has told ZNBC News that Mr. Hichilema and Mr. Mwamba have been summoned for holding an illegal meeting in Mpongwe district on Monday. Ms. Katanga says the two will appear before Luansha Police for questioning on Wednesday next week. The Copper Belt Police Chief says the two were initially set to have appeared for questioning on Friday, September 30th, but their lawyers requested for Wednesday next week. And Mpongwe District Commissioner Keith Malaila has reported Mr. Hichilema and Mr. Mwamba to Kito Police for illegally having a meeting in Mpongwe where they allegedly incited residents not to recognize the PF government. Mr. Malaila said he has documented video in which the two opposition leaders are seen inciting villagers on the Luansobe-Luansha road. This is the news at 18 hours. We take a commercial break. After that, anthrax has broken out in Chama district of Muchinga province, plus other stories. Keep watching. We continue with the news. Anthrax has broken out in Chama district of Muchinga province. Ministry of Health spokesperson Kamoto Mbewe has confirmed the development to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. Dr. Mbewe says the first case was reported last Thursday, and so far 7 people are being treated in Chama district. He has since advised people of Chama district to avoid contact or eating meat from animals whose cause of death is not known. The current outbreak in Chama is suspected to have been transmitted from hippos that died in Luangwa River due to low levels of water. Anthrax presents with sores or blisters on affected parts of the body, which have come in contact with the bacteria called Bacillus anthracis. Finance Minister Felix Mutati says government will only spend the funds that it has at its disposal. Mr. Mutati also says government is committed to reducing borrowing and has asked the Bankers Association of Zambia to support government in its quest to promote agro-processing, value addition and manufacturing. Speaking when he met BAS officials in Lusaka today, Mr. Mutati has said government is ready to listen to suggestions from the banks on how to create stability in the financial sector and the economy. And BAS Vice Chairperson Martin Mungabi said the banking community will help government meet its economic objectives.
Minister of Finance Felix Mutati has continued on his engagement with various stakeholders in the economy since assuming the top office at the Ministry of Finance. The minister's latest meeting is with the Bankers Association of Zambia. Mr. Mutati told the bankers that fiscal consolidation is one of his priorities, observing that he wants to rein in on overspending and overborrowing.
We need to strengthen the interplay of monetary and fiscal policy. We need on the part of government to deal with fiscal consolidation And the basic principle is that we will not spend what we don't have. We also need to address, in particular, the areas of various suppliers, contractors that are pumping up what you may call the bad debt in the sector. Unless we do those things, the economy will remain in a difficult situation.
The minister also prodded the banking community to make it easy for small and medium-scale enterprises to access loans as they are key players in job creation.
We want to ask you that support the focus that we're going to have in 2017, which is agro-processing, value addition, and industrialization. So unless we work with you on those things, we will not achieve respectable economic growth.
In response, the Bankers Association of Zambia assured Mr. Mtati that the banking community will offer advice to government on various issues concerning the economy, saying the two are partners.
Policy by itself is not sufficient, right? So the key now is what fiscal consolidation measures is the MOF, the Ministry of Finance, going to take. More importantly, as we begin this process of a recovery that will be underpinned by reforms, a recovery that will be underpinned by the negotiations that you will be undertaken with the IMF and the other Bretton Woods institution. I think for us as an association, we are very happy that you've reached out with specific challenges. We view banks as catalysts of growth. So if we are not part of the equation, I think clearly then you will be challenged in achieving some of those objectives.
Mr. Mtati has pledged to meet the Bankers Association officials every 3 months to dialogue on the financial sector and the economy, a move which the bankers have welcomed. Michael Kaumba, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
In other news, some public bus drivers are asking the Lusaka City Council to recognize and gazette some illegal bus stations which have mushroomed in the city. Among these illegal bus stations are the ones at Downtown Shopping Mall on Kafiu Road for commuters traveling to the southern province. The other bus stations are at Independence Stadium for northbound out of Lusaka travelers, and the one on Katima Mulilo Road in Garden Compound for eastern province commuters. The drivers are asking the council to erect structures such as shelters and toilets at these sites. But Council Public Relations Manager Habenzo Molonda says the bus stations are not registered, therefore they are operating illegally. Here's a report.
This is Intercity Bus Terminus in Lusaka. The facility was built in 1980 and since then it has become overwhelmed by the growing population. Now, some illegal bus stations are slowly mushrooming in some parts of Lusaka. This space at Downtown Shopping Mall on Kafiu Road has become a bus station for Southern Province-bound commuters. The case is the same on Katimamuliro Road in Garden Compound for Eastern Province travelers. Now, these drivers operating here want recognition from the Lusaka City Council.
At this station, there are no toilets, there are no shelters. When the rains comes, we normally have some floods here. The government to give us a good station, a modern station, where we have some toilets and some shelters, whereby if the rains comes, we have in a safe position. Intercity is congested with big buses.
Toilets, water facilities. As we have seen that there is a lot of people here, we don't have toilets. At least when you maintain this station, because there is a lot of people, Mamba, Choma, Livingstone, Sinazongwe, they are all here. Even in Chirundu, Kafiu.
But this recognition by the council will not come easily. Council Public Relations Manager Habenzo Molonda says these bus stations are operating illegally.
What we know is the bus stations which have been provided for the long distance intercity. There are also some that are loading from Kulima Tower. But then if there are any activities like you are putting it, it's an illegal thing. Those are not recognized. You will not even find the council officers there. We've only recognized places like Intercity Bus Terminus, Kulima Tower, City Market. We have, Lumumba bus stations. These are the bus stations that which we are operating from. But
for now, despite these places operating illegally, they have come in handy for these traveling people. After all, in one way or the other, they are decongesting the intercity bus terminus. Leandro Hamwala, TV2 News in Lusaka.
University Teaching Hospital UTH management has confirmed that the man found dead yesterday on Manenekela Road in Lusaka's Woodlands area was a patient at the institution. UTH Deputy Managing Director Laston Chikoya says the man was an admitted patient at the time of his death. Dr. Chikoya has identified the man as Jonathan Schultz, aged 26, was admitted to the institution last Monday, September 26, 2016. He said the deceased is suspected to have run away from the hospital, as is the case with some patients who leave the hospital wards without permission to do personal errands but come back later. Dr. Chikoya says the UTH has since informed Mr. Schutz's relatives. We take another break, and on the other side we have some sports news as well as some foreign news. Don't go away. And now for the rest of the news. In foreign news, Amnesty International has alleged that dozens of children in Darfur have allegedly been killed by chemical weapons dropped on them by their own government. Amnesty International says the children are among more than 200 people estimated to have been killed by the banned weapons since January. Those affected by the poisonous smoke vomit blood, struggle to breathe, and watch as their skin falls off. But the Sudanese government has said the allegations are baseless. The government in Khartoum and rebels have been fighting in Darfur for 13 years. In sports news, Barclays Bank has called on sportsmen and women to take financial literacy seriously. Barclays Head of Marketing and Corporate Relations, Mato Shimabale, says this will help sportsmen and women not be destitute after their careers. He was speaking today in Lusaka during the Ready to Work money skills training for teams participating in the Barclays Cup this year. And Football Association of Zambia FAS General Secretary Ponga Liwewe has praised Barclays for the initiative.
I retired 30 years old as a soccer player. I become a football coach, or I become a sports journalist and things like that. How do I use the investment I make, the money I'm making now, to invest wisely so that I'm able to have shelter, to have a house when I retire as a football player? And sometimes society can be cruel, because the same society and the same people who are cheering you on and chanting your names on the pitch when you're at your peak, they're the same people who will be laughing at you tomorrow and saying, have you seen how it's finished?
Barclays again for looking beyond the cup and saying, look, we are sponsoring Barclays Cup, so we'll be in the news, we'll be in the media. That's not what it is about for them. It's also about giving back to the community, creating opportunities, teaching, learning, opening doors for people, opening opportunities so that when you are on the top of your game, you will stay at the top and not find yourself, in difficult situations. So thanks once again to Barclays, and I hope everybody will be focused. I know sometimes it's easier to focus when you're on the pitch than to focus when you're sitting at a desk getting notes, but the same focus and discipline you show on the field should be the same focus and discipline you will show in understanding the lessons that are going to be given to you today.
And as we wrap up the news, here's a reminder of the top stories. President Edgar Lungu has warned that he will not hesitate to fire any of his ministers who will not be loyal to him. And the president says he expects hard work from the ministers because this is what the Zambian people expect as well. The Lusaka Water and Sewage Company has shut down the Chongwe district water supply system because Chongwe River, the main source of the commodity, has dried up. Company Acting Managing Director Manuel Mutale has confirmed this to TV2 News in an interview. Barclays Bank has called on sportsmen and women to take financial literacy seriously. Barclays Head of Marketing and Corporate Relations, Mato Shimawale, says this will help sportsmen and women not to be destitute after their careers. So that's it. That's the news at 18 hours. We'll be back at 20 hours this evening with another detailed news bulletin. My name is Chilufia Mwelwa. Enjoy the evening.